Name a more iconic duo than Akito and a knife. I'll wait. Now, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's just denial. Maybe it's me just refusing to even imagine Tohru getting stabbed. But I'm just like, there's gotta be something else that's gonna happen. We're not gonna have a back-to-back stab-a-fest, are we? Maybe we will, but there's no way she's dying. That's the one thing I'm confident on. Tohru will not die no matter what happens, but the drama isn't gonna stop anytime soon. Part of me is kind of hoping Hsieh will just pimp slap her or something, just put her in her place for once, because this character is on a downward spiral, and for a character to already be in a pretty shitty spot to be in a downward spiral, leave it to Akito to find new ways to up the ante. Now, this week's episode exposes a hell of a lot about why Hsieh feels so guilty, so driven, and I mean, when you pretty much have two mothers' deaths on your shoulder, one a mother who killed herself, and another who, if you would have just pulled her back, even if you would have transformed, you would have saved her life, it's understandable why the man has some problems, and I did get it a bit wrong last week, just given how they were directing it. I actually thought they were directing as Tohru's mother was killing herself, but in fact it was his own mother, and it's just insane to see the amount of pain this man has to go through and how he literally locked away some of the memories because he just couldn't deal with them, and once he saw that hat, it all came flooding back towards him. I mean, this episode was heavy, and I think what I appreciate the most is that Tohru, even not knowing whether he was blinded by the truth, did she actually say that? I can't believe my mother would say and blame someone like that. That's just not in her character. And even if it was, then I have to rebel against my mom. Had this information dropped, like, among their initial interaction, right? Imagine she just came to this home, Shigeru's home, and then Hsieh drops this information on her. Yeah, she probably wouldn't have the exact same reaction. She might still doubt in what her mother said, but she probably wouldn't want to still love this man because she hadn't grown to love him yet. But the interesting thing is that this is a boy who has experienced so much emotional abuse, who has literally been treated less than human, and to have that fear of not wanting to turn into an animal out of fear of more people pushing back, Tohru's not the type of character to say, you're the reason my mom died. Even if your actions might have saved her life, I mean, in any logical sense, if you take a step back and analyze the situation, the abuse that his family delivered to him, the abuse that Akito delivered to him, is more of a trigger of why she ended up dead than him not willingly pulling her back. Had Hsieh been raised differently, had Hsieh not been taught that being the cat is the worst thing ever, and it would be better to be Satan's demon spawn, then he probably would have pulled her back. So it's one of these things that it's easy to play the blame game, and it's completely understandable why this man feels so guilty, because he did have an action of not saving her life. But no one with a heart is going to say, well, you should have known better. Well, you should have done this. The man keeps putting himself first despite hating his own life. He needs someone to be there for him who doesn't push him away. And if this is an indication that 100% Tohru is that person, nothing will say as such. There still is a hurdle for sure. He ran away, Yuki went after him, and of course we have biggest bitch with a knife come up here. But like I've said it before and I'll say it again, Tohru will be the saving grace of this family. It's just a matter of getting over that last hump, and it's giving me flashback to Kyo's true form, where she was the one to really embrace him, fault and all, and it almost feels like Kyo will be the last one to snap in a lot of ways. And I'm so impressed with what they did because the hat as an example, right? There was always so much mystery, like, it was like, oh, was this Kyo's hat? Was this Yuki's hat? And then you get the backstory with Yuki bringing Tohru home. So when you see in this episode that he went to look after her and try to find her, you realize everything that happened and how it connects like this really well-earned puzzle, as if you spent months upon months, in the case of anime watchers, years upon years, building up to this moment. And the idea of his hatred towards Yuki is something I appreciate even more after this episode. He needed a bad guy. He needed someone to throw his anger, to throw his loneliness at. And the fact that, you know, for the first time he willingly went to visit them. She's not there. I will find her. And the person who found her was Yuki. It's just, it hurts him and it destroys him. And to see all the bonding before then, to have Beth's father encourage him to go back and see her. It's just, there's so much happening there, and I absolutely love how heartbreaking, but I would argue optimistic this episode was. The heartbreaking aspects are self-explanatory, so I'm going to focus on the optimistic. Because some people may be saying, what are you talking about? While it did end in death, while it did end with him running away, the core theme of Kyoko and just Tohru's mother and interacting was that this boy, she felt bad, and in doing so, he made her feel better in her lowest points. And just to see them bond, it's hard to imagine, even if he never went back to visit her, that she would say, I can't forgive you and you're to blame. There has to be something more. I mean, we get in this episode, he said he literally locked his memories away because the burden was too much. It's very possible he's misremembering what she said. And even if somehow she did say that, I don't think it would have been intentional. Either one of two things is going to happen. One, he's going to remember what actually was said and it was completely different. Or B, we're going to get a flashback that will put ourselves in her shoes in her dying moments and we'll hear the full thing. I just can't believe that's exactly what was said. And if it was, I mean, it wasn't intentional. She literally just got hit by a car. She may not have been thinking straight. I'm really excited to see what's going to happen there. If we needed any more indication that Tohru and Hsieh needed to be together, this was the episode. If he can drop that type of bombshell and she's saying, what can I do to make you believe that I love you and want to? This is it. And it will be interesting to see when Hsieh will be able to fully open up because, I mean, the whole idea of Akito encouraging beating Yuki, and then that's how he ended up meeting them in the beginning of season 1. There's so much to this show, and it just feels like we're building up to a satisfying conclusion. With 5 episodes left to go, I am excited to see what's going to happen. Now, generally, I would be terrified to see what was going to happen, because a knife has been pulled and seemingly no one is there to help her. But even if the worst happens, there's no way she's dying, and I feel like in a lot of ways it would be twisted, but it would totally be in Fruits Basket fashion. If Tohru ended up getting stabbed and she forgave Akito, that would have to be the change of heart moment. There's no way around it, because I just don't see this being a show where Akito gets killed or something, so it has to be the moment, right? But we'll see where it goes. This was incredible. Been a lot of hype surrounding this episode, and it felt like it definitely delivered. Every episode of the final season kind of feels like the best episode in its own unique way, and seriously, it's good to finally get some clarification. As heartbreaking as it is, I think to see someone not respond negatively against him after him hating himself for so long is hard to take in, and that's why he runs away. But I think once they come back together, whenever that will be, whether it'll be in the same location, a different location, that's when the love can truly start and they can finally set in motion a new and great path. Overall, Fruits Basket delivers 10 out of 10, would recommend. Emotional, love it that it's in the rain, just adds to all the more, like, are they crying or is that just raindrops? God damn, it's a sad day for rain, right? I mean, it's amazing, it really is, and I think it's going to be incredible to see what the conversation between Yuki and Kyo will look like, but most importantly and most terrifying, the conversation between Akito and Tohru. But let me know your thoughts and feelings on this episode, whether you know the source material or you're fresh to the anime like myself. How did this episode hit you? Because it definitely came in like a freight train, but I wouldn't have it any other way. If you enjoyed the video, leave a like, share your support, and hit that subscribe button if you happen new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.